You're watching Breaking Ground and I am Swati Joshi. The top focus remains the destruction, the devastation and the aftermath of the nature's fury that was witnessed in Nepal. Let me take you through the top 5 developments that have happened till now. The situation in Nepal still remains precarious. The MEA has now confirmed that at least 288 Indians are still untraceable. The search and rescue operations are intensifying on ground to trace and track missing Indian nationals. Flood fury along Nepal-China border has left the death toll at 289 with around 1,400 people still missing. Search and rescue operations are continuing across the worst hit areas while authorities work to identify those who have been recovered and trace those who are still unaccounted for. Amidst these developments, we're also given to understand that 11 Indians who were earlier missing have now reached a safe zone, including 3 women and 8 men. Search and rescue, of course, continues to still trace those who are missing. And India has also sent the second relief flight to flood-hit Nepal, carrying 37.5 tons of relief material, medicines and food packets. S. Jaishankar, the Foreign Affairs Minister, said India remains in close touch with Nepal and will continue supporting relief efforts. There's a major flood warning which has come from China now, and China has flagged a high risk of a barrier lake bursting in Nepal. The lake already holds 2 million cubic meters of water and is overflowing. Another 3 million cubic meters could flow into the lake over the next 3 days. That's the warning that has come in from China. Let's now break down the details. A catastrophe that began thousands of meters above sea level has devastated communities across Nepal and Tibet. Wall of water, mud, shattered ice, rocks and enormous boulders came crashing through the Himalayan valleys, and entire stretches of roads have disappeared now. Along with them, the homes that were present in that area, the structures that were present, completely engulfed. Bridges have been damaged or washed away. Power projects have been hit. Homes and settlements have been buried under mud. Hundreds remain missing on both sides of the Nepal and China border, and the numbers themselves are staggering and they are changing every hour. Officials have now reported that 168 people lost their lives in Nepal, but even that number keeps changing every hour. As per many international agencies, nearly 1,000 are missing in Nepal and Tibet after the flash floods. Hundreds of foreigners are among those who are unaccounted for. 21 Indian nationals from Tamil Nadu who had travelled for the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra have been rescued in Nepal. The MEA now says 288 Indian nationals remain untraceable. Now, this also includes 73 Indians who were working at the Trishuli 1 power project. The Indian embassy in Kathmandu is coordinating with the Nepalese authorities and the project management to establish their whereabouts and trace other stranded citizens as well. And amidst all this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to the Prime Minister of Nepal, Balen Shah, conveying India's condolences, expressing solidarity with the people of Nepal and also offering all possible assistance. So let's break down the details. Let me give you details about the Indians who are missing in Nepal even as we speak, and the rescue and relief operation is intensifying on ground. 82 of them are from the state of Tamil Nadu, 32 are from the state of West Bengal, 7 from Maharashtra, 3 from Andhra Pradesh, 8 from Karnataka, 1 from Telangana and 77 who belong to the Isha Foundation. There are 32 Indians who have been rescued. They were missing earlier, but now they've reported to have been rescued. Let's also listen to what the Ministry of External Affairs said in their briefing just a short while back on the assistance, aid, relief that has been provided to Nepal and also on missing Indians.
So the first group of 73 people who are working on Trishuli 1 power project, then 2 separate groups of 37 and 49 nationals from Tamil Nadu, Indian nationals from Tamil Nadu, who travelled for Kailash Mansarovar Yatra through Samrat and Fly Everest Travels. These are 2 separate travel agents. There are a group of 32 nationals from Indian nationals from West Bengal who travelled with the help of Samrat Travels in Timure, which is in Rasuwa district where this particular disaster has happened. Then a group of 61 Indian nationals from different states who travelled through Richa tours, and then a group of 33 Indian nationals from Kerala. So these are 5 major groups who comprise by and large the 288 people that we are talking about. 1,300 hours today. We have been able to rescue 21 Indian nationals. These 21 group of 21 people are from Tamil Nadu, and we are making available their names on our X handle, so you can get the details. Our embassy, our ambassador has spoken to people in the group and have assured all possible help. They are coming to Kathmandu, hopefully, and then arrangements will be made for their travel back home. As you would have seen, our Prime Minister yesterday spoke to the Prime Minister of Nepal, conveyed our deepest condolences, conveyed that India stands in solidarity with people of Nepal, as also offered all possible assistance, humanitarian assistance from our side.
Let's go across to Kritika, my colleague, who's joining us live from Nepal, and she's getting us every single update related to the relief and rescue operation there. Kritika, what's happening on ground? Now, the MEA said 288 Indians are missing. They are untraceable at the moment. They've not been able to establish contact with them. Amidst all this, then there are also reports coming in of how 11 Indians have reached the safe zone. Kritika, if you can hear me, just take us through the updates as far as missing Indians are concerned and also the relief and rescue operation.
Swati, I can hear you now. If you could please repeat your question again.
Well, Kritika, I just wanted to know from you the status of missing Indians and also what you can see around you, the relief and rescue operation. What is the situation on ground?
Well, as far as the Indian nationals are concerned, the 21 of them who were on the Mansarovar trek and had unfortunately saw the flash flood happen right in front of their eyes, were stranded. They say that the Nepali army has been very accommodating. As soon as they reached their camp, they provided them with food, hot water as well. Shelter was also given, and subsequently they were brought in here at the Trishuli military training camp, which is currently serving as a hub for all rescue operations. Even, in fact, if you'll be able to see right behind me also, there is another tent that has been set up where other foreign nationals are also present. They're also being given a first aid by the army officials. Continuously, we are seeing movement of helicopters. So back and forth, helicopters are coming in from the most flood-impacted areas. And even if the first aid given by the army doctors here is failing, then they are quickly ferried to either in ambulances or through these air ambulances, through these choppers to Kathmandu itself. So, of course, the army is trying their level best in order to locate all such injured as well as injured individuals from the high peak areas. Currently, also, we can hear another chopper, in fact, lifting off. It's carrying more injured people and it's taking them to Kathmandu. So, continuously back and forth. Since we have reached this spot, we've seen the army be absolutely active, because remember, we've spoken about this earlier as well. There is always the possibility and always the criteria of a golden hour. So the first 24 hours, the first 48 hours, very crucial, and that is why the army is trying that with every airlift, they're able to bring back as many people as they can from, in fact, high terrain areas as well, give them the care that they need, and then, in fact, transfer them back. There are also still a lot of people still outside the army camp area as well, wherein they're still waiting for information on their loved ones. So, of course, the number of missing people and the concern regarding them also continues to be on the high. Yes, Swati.
Absolutely. Kritika, do stay on with us and also stay safe out there. We have some breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast, and this is an update that we are getting from the Nepal Tourism Board on the rescue operations. The Tourism Board has just confirmed that 27 individuals have been rescued from Rasua in Nepal, and of this, there are 11 Indian nationals. Part of the 21 who've been rescued, there are 8 men and 3 women who've been rescued from Rasua. Remember, Rasua was the worst hit when the flash floods hit the entire region. Let me, in fact, go across to Akanksha now, who's getting us more details. Akanksha, on one hand, of course, there's a lot of concern and a worry for what's transpiring in Nepal. That's the kind of relationship, the roti-beti relationship that we share with our neighboring country. But at the same time, people want to know, what about the missing Indians? How many rescued? How many are still stranded? MEA says 288 untraceable.
Right, and remember, these 288 also include those religious pilgrims who were on their yatra to Mount Kailash as part of the Isha Foundation. And many of them happen to be Indian nationals, but many of them are also of other foreign nationalities. And so the Ministry of External Affairs is still trying to gain some kind of contact over there, because right now we are solely dependent on the Nepalese authorities, whether it is the Nepalese army or even their armed police forces or the local district authorities. Right now, none of the Indian forces have been able to reach the spot, because the information we've so far gathered from sources within the government is that this entire area surrounding Rasua and Trishuli, all of them have become like a lake, or more like an isolated island which is away from, or rather cut off from the mainland in Nepal. And so at a time when the telecommunications is completely down, the infrastructure has borne the impact of it. There is no drinking water. They'll have to construct bridges. ME has also told us that there's been a request by the Nepalese government to, in fact, offer the construction of Bailey bridges, which is something perhaps Indian government will now be taking up as well, apart from, say, the 47.5 tons of rescue and relief material that has already been sent by the Indian government since last night. The first consignment was dispatched yesterday. The second consignment was dispatched today, 37.5 tons. That includes tents, solar lamps, and of course various other medical kits, hygiene kits as well. And the Indian government is very much on high alert. We've been told that if there is going to be a need for NDRF personnel also to be dispatched, we will send them, though they have not been deployed currently in Nepal. They are very much on high alert as far as our border districts with Nepal, whether in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, are concerned. But the situation is extremely grim, because as you were discussing earlier, Swati, the water levels continue to remain high, and they are in fact only rising, especially in terms of the rivers that are, whether it is Sangpo or the other rivers, there are now forming a kind of a lake adjoining to Nepal, and that water is like only flowing downwards, because Nepal, remember, in this case is a lower riparian state. So the maximum brunt in this situation is being borne by Nepal.
Absolutely, and that is proving to be one of the biggest challenges as well. Akanksha, thank you very much for getting us the updates. Now, let's focus on the rescue operations that are underway on a war footing in Nepal. And as we speak, civilians who are being rescued are being moved to army relief camps. Times Now's Kritika Tiwari is reporting from one such relief camp, the Trishuli military camp. And here's the latest from Ground Zero.
We're reporting from the Trishuli military training camp. Behind me, you can see how people who have been injured and are being rescued by the army are also being brought in. Different helicopters here, a lot of movement of the army personnel as well. In fact, all behind them, you can also see scores of people who are waiting in for information on their loved ones. All of them are waiting here. This is a station that has been set up. I'll give you more clear visuals. In fact, you'll be able to see that there are army personnel here who announce the names of people who come in, who are rescued from the districts most impacted by flooding and are brought here at Trishuli. In fact, I'll also show you how the military tent has also been set up. This is the military aid tent, wherein first aid is being given to the people who have been injured and who are being brought in from districts uphill that were most impacted by floods. So currently, the priority of the army personnel is to, in fact, log the details of all such injured personnel coming, of all such injured people coming in, and then to give them first aid. If in case they require further medical attention, they're also being sent into ambulances, and sometimes these very scenic air helicopters also back to Kathmandu.
Now, here's what really transpired. Remember, a lot of questions were asked on what led to this sudden flash floods that were witnessed that has now left behind a trail of destruction. The glacial collapse that took place triggered the flash floods, and that is why you saw the kind of devastation and destruction that Nepal is dealing with today. Of course, when the glacial collapse happened, that led to the flash floods, and then the entire river bank and the structures that were present on the river bank, along with the bridges, the infrastructure, all of that engulfed, all of that washed away and swept away by the raging rivers. Now, we're getting some breaking inputs as well on the broadcast. The Indian Air Force has just confirmed that continuing with the relief effort in the country, another Indian Air Force C-17 aircraft took off carrying 37.5 tons of relief supplies, including medicines and food items. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to the Prime Minister of Nepal and assured him all possible help and assistance. And as part of that promise and as part of the tradition that we have between both the countries, where India has always reached out to Nepal in the hour of grief and crisis, another aircraft taking off carrying relief material along with it. Let me go across to Akanksha, who's getting us more details. Akanksha, we're given to understand 37.5 tons of relief supplies this time around have been carried, which also includes medicines and food items for people there on ground in Nepal who've been impacted and need this the most at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it was to begin with, India has been right at the forefront of extending relief material as far as humanitarian assistance and disaster relief material is concerned. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar has also been consistently engaged with his diplomatic counterparts, including the Foreign Minister of Nepal, Foreign Minister Khanal. And we are being told that he also had a review meeting, remember, earlier during the day, where we engaged and reviewed the overall situation. In attendance was Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, as much as the Indian ambassador to Nepal and the Indian ambassador to China were also present at this review meeting. So the Indian authorities are very much in touch. And as I was earlier informing you, the first consignment was dispatched last night itself in one of the Indian Air Force aircraft, where 10 tons of relief material were dispatched. Today, we've seen how 37.5 tons of relief and rescue material, which includes tents, solar lamps, hygiene kits, even medical aid, all of these have been dispatched. And we are being told India could also be assisting in construction of bridges, Bailey bridges, because Nepal has lost close to 19 bridges so far. There's been severe infrastructural damage, and without bridges, it would be next to impossible for any of these security personnel, or say even for the Nepal army, to carry out any of the rescue and relief efforts. So India is offering whatever possible help they can. The Indian government, as in fact was assured by Prime Minister Modi himself in that phone conversation he had with the Nepalese Prime Minister Balin Shah, he not only said that India is standing in solidarity with Nepal, but also offered all humanitarian relief assistance work. We've been reaching out to Voices, even spoke to the former Prime Minister Madhav Nepal, and he said that he was reminded of India's rescue and relief efforts back in the year 2015 when Nepal was hit by the earthquake. So the popular sentiment within
those painful memories, isn't it, Akanksha? Do stay on with us. And what everyone was fearing is, happening. It's coming true, which is the rise in death toll. We have some details coming to fore. Stay on with us, Akanksha. Breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast. Nepal flood death toll has now risen to 332 as rescue operations continue. Search for missing individuals continues. The toll from Wednesday's devastating floods rose sharply. Highest number of bodies recovered in Chitwan and Nawal Parasi East as police and security agencies continued rescue and search operations. Akanksha continues to be with us on the broadcast. These are reports also coming in from the Nepalese media, Akanksha. This is what everyone was fearing. The death toll has risen. It has reached 332.
Absolutely, Swati. It's deeply tragic and deeply devastating, not just for the people of Nepal, but also for us Indians. Apart from the fact that very many Indians are stranded over there in Nepal, many of them actually uncontactable at the moment. The fact is, as you rightly highlighted, India and Nepal also share that Roti Beti Ka Rishta. India has been at the forefront of all the rescue and relief efforts. So it's completely devastating for our neighborhood, for South Asia, Asian subcontinent, because very many are from other countries as well. In fact, you have messages pouring in from across the globe, from the United States to the UK to Bangladesh. China also is now fronting relief and rescue operations. So the death toll is only going to go higher. As we said, that this is just slightly over 24 hours since the flash floods struck Nepal. And as you rightly highlighted, Nepalese media over there sharing this death toll figure, which has crossed 300. One really wonders what is going to be the situation in another 24 hours. This, when, remember, time is of the essence. The entire region, as far as the bordering lake areas also of the region are concerned, they all happen to be landlocked at the moment. They are not, security personnel are not able to enter or penetrate this region. They're making their best efforts, but we are also learning from the Nepalese authorities, as we at times now reached out to the Nepal embassy here in New Delhi, and they're saying that they are reaching out and making requests to the Indian government to also send out more security personnel, perhaps send the NDRF.
So understand for the rescue teams also on ground, it's challenging logistically as well to reach the exact spot where the damage was done. And, you know, the chances of rescue operation being successful is higher in the initial hours. Akanksha, do stay on with us. Let's also take a look at this ground report that was sent to us earlier by my colleague Kritika, which is from the mid-air base. Let's take a look at what transpired there on ground.
We're at the mid-air base in Kathmandu, where, of course, a lot of relief material has reached, and from here it's all being airlifted. Currently, we're on our way to the Trishuli space, the space where you've seen visuals of about how the market area there all completely inundated when yesterday the catastrophic flood took place. In fact, around us also you'll be able to see how a lot of relief material has been overall airlifted. We've seen toilet papers, essentials, like food items, as well as clothing also being supplied. Now, Gunshe as well as Trishuli are the two bases for the rescue and relief work. They lie on the Rasua as well as the Trishuli belt, and currently we're just on our way to oversee how the rescue operations in fact are taking place, even as thousands of people continue to remain missing.
All right, so that was a ground report by Kritika on what transpired and how the relief and rescue operation is being carried out. Times Now is reporting from the Trishuli military training camp as well, where injured and rescued people from Rasua district are being brought in by the helicopter. Army personnel are providing first aid to those who have been rescued. Outside the camp, there are a lot of people who are waiting for some information about their missing relatives.
Us how exactly it's taking place. We have a member of parliament also here with us. Sir, please explain कि आखिर कितने लोगों को आप लेकर आ रहे हैं, कहाँ से लोग, मैं देख रही हूँ बार-बार यहाँ पर हेलीकॉप्टर लैंड कर रहे हैं, कहाँ से लोग आ रहे हैं और आप इनको कहाँ लेकर जा रहे हैं?
कॉल से हम लोग लाग रहा हूँ, सब लोग यहाँ का चाहिए सीडीओ साहब है, हम एमपी है, पीएम भी आया था अभी, ये बागमती प्रोविंस का चाहिए चीफ मिनिस्टर भी आया है ना, हम लोग सब यहाँ लाग रहा हूँ. अभी हम क्या कर रहा हूँ, हेलीकॉप्टर से चाहिए जुन जगह में पीड़ित है वहाँ से उड़ार करके यहाँ लाकर यहाँ से हम काठमांडू भेज रहा हूँ, कोई हॉस्पिटल रिफर कर रहा हूँ.
जी सर, मैं देख रही हूँ कि यहाँ पर कैसे एक मोबाइल हॉस्पिटल का नोटिफिकेशन दिया, इसके बारे में आप हमें कुछ बताइए.
ये मोबाइल हॉस्पिटल चाहिँ वहाँ चाहिँ अभी इधर सब डिस्चार्ज हो गया, यहाँ से चार्जर भी नहीं है, लाइन भी नहीं है, उस कारण से वहाँ से मोबाइल चार्ज करना पड़ेगा, इधर रख रहा हूँ.
सर, आपने क्या देखा, किस तरीके की इंजरीज हैं, किस तरीके की चोट लगी है लोगों को?
बहुत ठुला, बहुत नुकसान हुआ है, बहुत लोग का चाहिए हार्ट हुआ है. अभी ये एक से बोल नहीं सकता हम लोग, है ना. अभी हम 200-400 लोग को हम ले चुके हैं यहाँ पर, अभी भी ले आ रहे हैं, देखिए तो यहाँ ले आ रहे हैं. हम 10-12 हेलीकॉप्टर नॉन स्टॉप से उड़ रहा है यहाँ पर. वो कारण हम यहाँ आएगा, यहाँ से ट्रीटमेंट करके यहाँ नहीं होगा तो हम काठमांडू भेजूंगा.
तो यहाँ पर एक फर्स्ट लेवल ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट आप कह रहे हैं मिलता है. सो दिस इज व्हाट MP Madhu Kumar Shrestha is also telling us right now, that people are being brought in from the worst flood impacted areas from Rasua, and here they are being given treatment. You can also see the Nepal Army personnel in action right now. There are 2 people that they're attending to. They're checking their vitals. They're providing with care.
There is also a growing concern for an 80-member Isha Foundation group of Kailash pilgrims caught in the catastrophic flash floods along the Tibet-Nepal border. Sadhguru has confirmed that the group was in the region when the disaster struck. near the immigration center and Timure. The pilgrims, including people from India and several other countries, including US, Canada, Australia and United Kingdom. Communication with the group has been severely affected, with telecommunication networks down and the roads blocked or completely swept away across the disaster zone. Sadhguru broke down while sharing the update about those stranded or missing.
Profound sense of pain and regret. I wish to bring to your notice that there has been a terrible flash flood between Tibet and Nepal border. And on the Nepali side, as per the Indian news reports, about 484 people have gone missing. And on this side, we don't have any official information. Morning I left to go there personally, and all phones are off, all telecommunications are down, roads are blocked, we are unable to go there. Looking at the scale of destruction, it looks bad. Within the hour, we informed all the embassies of these countries, both in India and Nepal, and we've been active in this, but there is really nothing much.
Separately, we have received information about persons of Indian origin, including a large group from Isha Foundation, comprising people of Indian origin, some foreign nationals, and maybe some Indian national there who remain uncontactable. As I said in the beginning of my remarks, the information that we are providing you is based on the preliminary information that has been shared with us. We are in a dynamic situation, and we will have more updates on the figures that I just spoke about.
And for the very first time since the incident, Times Now has been able to establish contact with stranded Indian nationals who have been rescued in Nepal. This report is coming in from the Trishuli military camp. Take a look.
21 tourists who were on their way to the Mansarovar pilgrimage have been rescued. This information has been confirmed, and in fact, we're currently being joined by the group as well, who have survived the catastrophic flash flood that occurred right in front of their eyes. In fact, before I speak any further, I'll bring you straight the voices of the people who were able to survive this. They say that they climbed up steep hills for non-stop 45 minutes in order to save their lives.
Around 8:30, 8:45 morning. In a matter of 15 minutes, everything was wiped away.
Right.
But only our vehicle was survived. I think it's a God's wish, I think.
Right.
And we had a terrible time climbing the rock terrain. And overnight we stayed there. The next morning, the army came and rescued us.
We saw some blast, something blast sound. Suddenly got the water, we are just in the river was running. Suddenly it was heavy running waters, slushy waters. Going very forcefully, it was started going.
All the debris, everything.
The debris, everything. Not debris, only water force with the pressure. Then by the pressure. So suddenly I saw that within seconds, I was in the backside of the van. So I saw the backside. So when the water was going, it was just pulling away the lamp post. It was dragging it. Then suddenly, whatever the things nearby, it was just dying.
Mud blowing, like that, no? And a bomb blasting, and smoke, black smoke again. Then we started climbing there because mud is coming and it is pulling all the lorry, car, jeep and everything. So we were scared. On that side one door is there, but we can't come down. Driver's seat, steering. We came down from that way and we started climbing.
Now, that big question that left everyone wondering, what led to the catastrophe? Let's reconstruct the chain of events as per analysis of experts, scientists and experts. Because what happened in Nepal does not appear to have been an ordinary monsoon flood. In fact, the skies were clear as far as this border area, the mountainous region is concerned. There was no simple sequence of torrential rain followed by rivers gradually overflowing their banks. Instead, scientists believe the catastrophe may have begun with something far more dramatic, that a massive chunk of Himalayan ice appears to have detached at around an altitude of 5,200 meters, approximately 17,000 feet. It then plunged more than 1,200 meters, almost 4,000 feet into the valley below. This is called the glacial collapse. That triggered an enormous ice rock avalanche. So it also caused some seismic activity in the region. The avalanche then entered a river system, which led to the surge in the water level and then the rivers that were connected to it. Debris may have then flooded the entire river. Water accumulated. The natural obstruction appears to have failed. And what followed was a devastating flash flood. Flood racing through the Bote Koshi and the Trishuli river systems. At one monitoring point, the Trishuli reportedly rose an astonishing 9 meters in just 30 minutes. Let's tell you about the likely avalanche site. So, according to the reports that are coming in, the likely avalanche site is the Gairong port. That's where the glacial collapse impact was witnessed. And then Siapru Besi, Rasua Gadi, Trishuli Bazar, Kathmandu, Nepal-China border, all the areas and regions that were impacted. It happened because of the glacial collapse, which led to a surge in the level of the water of these rivers. Bote Koshi, Lende Khola and Trishuli. And then eventually you saw the gush, the huge gush of mud, water, boulders, sediments, all part of this flash flood raging through the river banks and destroying anything and everything that came in its way. We have some breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast at the moment. Satellite images and preliminary analysis indicate that a landslide, a debris or a blockage has formed a lake in the Bote Koshi river at the location where a flood warning was issued yesterday. The blocked lake is continuing to rise and there is a risk that the blockage could suddenly burst and then this would release a large volume of water downstream. So the threat is far from over. People living along the lower Bote Koshi river, travelers, rescue personnel and others involved in the relief operation have now been urged to remain highly alert. Let's go back to Akanksha, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Another report coming in which suggests that the threat is far from over. There are satellite images, Akanksha. According to the analysis of that, there perhaps seems to be a lake that was formed because of all the blockage and that may burst. If that happens, then another huge gush will go downstream.
So this is straight from the horse's mouth, Swati, that China's Ministry of Water Resources has announced that the current level of the lake, which is at 2 million cusecs, will be rising further and will perhaps cross 3 million cusecs. Why so? Because remember, Chochen Khola and Purepe Sangpo, these are two rivers which start from Tibet. They enter Nepal and that is when they actually join the Bote Koshi river, which as we all know is the upper tributary of the Trishuli river. And this is where, as far as the Trishuli river is concerned, this river has been overflowing. From what we can tell you right now, Timore has in fact, one of the localities and areas in the Rasuva district has been completely over flooded. As we've been telling you, government sources are telling us that this has almost become like an isolated island where the Nepalese army or say the armed police or even the local district authorities, even the scouts and the medics are all unable to reach the spot, which is why time is becoming extremely important. And now that the authorities are losing out on time, that is what is also explaining the increasing death toll. So the security personnel, including the Nepal army, they are all trying to in fact right now erect Bailey bridges to get to the areas, but that is becoming the prime most challenge. And after Thursday, we'll have to see if the water levels exceeds 3 million cusecs, as is being predicted by China's Ministry of Water Resources. This is only going to lead to further flooding, and that means that there's going to be less chance of water receding, right. And instead of receding, water levels are only going to exceed. So is the Nepalese government prepared for further challenges in the days ahead?
Right. So you're saying that the threat remains. There's still this danger of all this water gushing downstream. that could further complicate the entire situation. Stay on with us, Akanksha. We have another ground report that was filed by Adib, and this is from near the Narayani River. Let's take a look.
Right behind me is the Narayani River, which flows right towards the Nepal border. This is a particular place in Nepal, and this you can see in the visual is the Narayani River, which is coming right from the Raswa, where the flood has struck and a tragedy has taken place in Nepal. The Nepal officials have confirmed that around 168 people so far have lost their life. You can see the kind of pressure with the flow. This particular river is flowing towards the downside of the Nepal. One can imagine what must have happened when the flood struck the Raswa area of Nepal, which is way ahead of Kathmandu. It is being said that around 1,000 people so far, they are said to be missing. The Nepali army has been deployed by the government. The rescue operations are underway, and what we are given to understand is that 168 people have lost their life. कुछ असर जो रसवा में हुआ उसका कुछ असर यहाँ पे देखने को मिला?
रसिया में जो हुआ उसका असर तो लाशें दिख रहा था.
बॉडीज आपको दिखी?
लाशें दिख रहा था. बड़ी इधर ही कैप्चर हुआ. बहुत सारे इधर से उससे ज्यादा उधर का जो पाटा है ना, उधर बह गया ज्यादा. अच्छा. उधर ही निकाला. ये एरिया में इससे नारायणगढ़ तक 9 किलोमीटर का दूरी है. 9 किलोमीटर में तकरीबन 30 लोग लाश मिले हैं.
And you can see that how these people they are still these kinds of wooden logs in the river that has come to this particular side, and now these people they are trying to remove these wooden logs. Now the rescue operation is on. India has also sent the humanitarian aid to Nepal, and everyone is praying for the safety of the people, those who are still trapped at these affected areas.
And as Nepal battles a catastrophe of extraordinary scale, India has moved swiftly to stand with its neighbor. New Delhi is mounting a multi-pronged response, rushing emergency relief material to Kathmandu, coordinating with the Nepalese authorities on rescue and evacuation efforts, and working to trace Indian nationals and Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims caught in the disaster zone. India has sent a second relief flight to flood-hit Nepal, carrying 37.5 tons of relief material, medicines and food packets. In fact, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that India remains in close touch with Nepal and will continue supporting relief efforts.
CWC is already monitoring the discharge flow in Gandak River, and so far, as per the ground report, there has not been any adverse report so far. But yes, CWC is monitoring. Our teams at the state is monitoring strongly, and we would see how it comes. Overall, we have 9 teams deployed because there are many areas which can be affected by flood. But keeping in mind the incident which had happened yesterday in Nepal, so East Champaran and Muzaffarpur we have deployed 2 additional teams so to monitor the impact on Gandak River. So if any disaster is happening in any country where Government of India thinks that NDRF assistance or Government of India might send some force, in that case we keep our team standby. That is a protocol, and we are keeping few teams standby just in case if it is required to be deployed abroad.
Well, our reporters are there on ground in Nepal getting us every single update about what's transpiring there. We'll continue to keep you updated. A quick break on the broadcast. A lot more lined up on the other side. Welcome back. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has concluded a successful 4-day visit to Japan. Piyush Goyal pushed for India as a data center hub during Japan visit. Addressing the India-Japan Startup Roundtable in Tokyo, Piyush Goyal proposed establishing a deep tech capital corridor to mobilize patient capital for early-stage research, deep tech innovation and commercialization. The minister also proposed a 2-way innovation bridge connecting universities, incubators, R&D institutions, labs and testing facilities in both countries. The other proposal was on manufacturing and technology integration that combines India's scale, engineering talent and entrepreneurial dynamism with Japan's precision, engineering technology and manufacturing capabilities. Let's listen into this exclusive conversation with the Union Minister.
पीयूष गोयल हमारे साथ हैं. पीयूष जी, आप 200 डेलीगेट्स को लेकर आए और सबसे बड़ा डेलीगेट्स अभी तक आप लेकर आए हैं। क्या जब यहाँ पे 4 दिन लगातार टोक्यो, नगोया और अब ओसाका, क्या यहाँ से भारत में लेकर जा रहे हैं? किस तरह की बातें जो वहां के लोगों के लिए भी, वहां की इंडस्ट्री के लिए भी, और प्रधानमंत्री का जो सपना है 2047 विकसित, उसका भी कुछ
मुझे लगता है कि जो उत्साह भारत में देखने को मिला, अभी तो 60-70 और डेलीगेट्स आना चाहते थे, हमारे पास जगह नहीं थी अरेंजमेंट्स और रूम्स में। और वैसे ही जापान की कम से कम 105 और कंपनियां मेरे से मिलना चाहती थी, जो समय के अभाव में अब मिल नहीं पाए। अब उनको भारत न्योता दिया है कि उनको भारत भेजे यहाँ से, और वहां हम चर्चा आगे बढ़ाएंगे। जो हाल में ही पिछले महीने जापान और भारत के प्रधानमंत्री ने एक बड़ा ऐलान किया है कि जापान भारत मित्र देश साथ में मिले और साथ में मिलके दोनों देशों के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए और जापान इंडिया पार्टनरशिप साझेदारी से विश्व के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए काम करें। उसकी पहली कड़ी इस विजिट में पूरी हुई है। बहुत अच्छी बैठकें हुई हैं, बहुत अच्छे राउंड शोज और बहुत अच्छे राउंड टेबल्स और रोड शो में भागीदारी रही जापानीज कंपनीज की। ढेर सारा निवेश का कमिटमेंट भी मुझे अलग अलग कंपनियों ने दिया है, छोटी बड़ी ने। और मेरा मानना है कि जो 7 लाख करोड़ एफडीआई निवेश के रूप में जापान सरकार ने कमिट किया था 2025 में कि हम 10 साल में 7 लाख करोड़ निवेश करेंगे, शायद वो 5-5.5 साल में ही पूरा हो जाए।
लेकिन जो साझेदारी की बात जापान भारत की कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो ट्रेड डेफिसिट है वो साझेदारी में जो है उसको कैसे ठीक करेंगे?
स्वाभाविक रूप से जब भारत, इनके पास आज लोगों की कमी है। जापान में आज युवा शक्ति कम है, एवरेज एज लगभग 50 साल है, हमारी एवरेज एज 29 साल है। उनको आज युवा शक्ति चाहिए यहाँ पे। उल्टे तो 3 लाख लोग भारत से बुला रहे हैं कि हम वहां से स्किल्ड मैन पावर, इंजीनियर्स, डॉक्टर्स, नर्सेज, केयर गिवर्स, इलेक्ट्रिशियंस, प्लम्बर्स, शेफ्स, यहाँ पे उनको बड़े पैमाने पे भारत से लोग चाहिए। साथ ही साथ ये वहां पे बड़े रूप में निवेश करके भारत की भी बड़ी मार्केट और दुनिया की मार्केट में वहां से निर्यात करके भारत के अर्थव्यवस्था को और बल देंगे, स्फूर्ति देंगे, स्पीड देंगे। और स्वाभाविक है कि जैसे जैसे अब हाईटेक, हाई क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने में भारत।
And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin, but a lot more is lined up on the other side for you. Stay on with us.